This is a video guide documenting the process of installing a TF2 server on a Linux VPS host. In this case, our host is running Ubuntu Server 16.04.2 LTS. This process should be mostly the same for all distributions, with the difference being which package manager is used for that distribution. Please refer to the documentation for your distribution of choice. I will be showing how to use the Linux Game Server Manager Framework, or LGSM, for configuring and setting up your server. In a later video, I will be covering a more manual approach, providing more control over how your server is installed and configured. For most use cases, LGSM is perfectly fine. The first step is to find your SSH login credentials from your hosting provider. We will need these in order to log into the host. For this demonstration, I am using a virtualized instance on one of my own self-hosted servers. I'll be demonstrating how to SSH in to your server from a Linux host. The process will be the same for OS X. On Windows, you will need to either use a program called PuTTY, or you will need to set up a Linux VM for SSH use. On Linux and OS X, open up a terminal, as I have done. Run SSH root at domain or IP address. You will then be asked to add the server to your known host file. Say yes if you are sure this is the server you should be connecting to. Next, enter the password for the server. Now we are into the root account of the VPS. First thing we should do is update the instance. To do this, run the following commands as you see on screen. apt update, apt upgrade, apt dist tac upgrade, apt auto remove, and apt clean. I would recommend that you give the server a restart once the update process has completed. While it's not always needed, it's a good idea to make sure that everything is fully patched before we begin installing our TF2 server management stack. After the reboot is finished, re-SSH into your server. Now we need to disable auto updates. To do this, type vim space/etsy/apt.conf.d/10 periodic. Press I on your keyboard to enter insert mode. Change the 1 to a 0. Then press escape. Then type Shift:WQ. Then press enter. Now let's start by installing the core dependencies of our server. Run the following command that you see on screen now. It will be linked in the description. Please note that this command will vary depending on which distribution you are using. Please refer to the LGSM documentation. Next, we will add a TF2 server account. Run the following command. Next, create a password for the account. Now change to the TF2 server account. Now download the TF2 LGSM framework script via wget. Now make the TF2 server script executable. Now install the TF2 server srcds instance. This installation process can take a while. Now that the process has completed, you will see these prompts. The default yes option should be fine. The TF2 server instance has been successfully installed. Let's edit our start options for the TF2 server. In this demonstration, I'll be using Vim, but you can use your preferred text editor. Type vim space TF2 server and press enter. Type I on your keyboard to enter insert mode. Here we can change our server variables such as the default launch options that should be used, the default map, port configuration, player slots, and update on server start. Let's say this is a 6's team server and they also need an STV slot. I'll set the player slots to 14. You may also wish to change the default map that the server loads on start. Do this now. I would advise that you leave the ports at their default configuration unless you have a reason to change them, such as running multiple TF2 servers on the same host IP address. Next, go down to where Update on Start is listed. Change this from no to yes. This will allow the server to be updated whenever the TF2 server instance starts or restarts. Now to exit Vim, press Escape, then while holding Shift, press the colon key. You should see a colon appear in the bottom left-hand corner. Then, in lowercase, type W and Q. Then press Enter. Now to start the server, type /TF2 server start. Check to make sure that your server is running properly by connecting it to it from your in-game client, using the connect command. The string is simply connect space hostname. Stop the TF2 server by running /TF2 server stop. We now need to install a web server package to serve as a CDN for our maps and other custom content for fast download access. First, type exit into the terminal to exit back to the root account. In this tutorial, we will be using Apache as our web server, but Nginx would also be a wonderful choice. Use the following command to install Apache: apt install Apache 2. Once installed, run mkdir-p/var/www/html/fastdl/tf2. Then run cd/var/www/html/fastdl/tf2. Now we will make a symlink for our TF2 server maps directory to the current directory. To do this, run ln /s/home/tf2 server/server files/tf/maps maps. Type ls/-l to make sure that the symlink is listed. Make sure that the web server process is running by typing systemctl status apache2.service. You should see what I see and see that the service is enabled and active. If the service shows that it is not running, run the following commands: systemctl start apache2.service. If it is not enabled, you can enable it by running systemctl enable apache2.service. Verify that your web server is running by going to the IP address in your web browser. You should see a page that looks like this. Now, in your SSH client, type cd //. Then type mv index.html index.html.back. Then refresh your web browser. You should now see a list of directories. Navigate to fastdownload/tf2/maps. Test downloading a map by clicking on it. If that works and a map downloads, it is now time to set up SFTP access. You will need to download FileZilla if you do not already have it installed, or you can use SFTP on the command line, which is my preferred way. If you're on Windows, I will provide a download link for this in the video description. If you are on Linux, please install it via your distribution's package manager. Your SFTP access information will be the following. Address: SFTP:// host IP address here. Username is TF2 server with no spaces. Your password is the password you set on the TF2 server account during your initial setup. The port is 22. Upon connecting to the SFTP server, your server files are located under the server files/tf directory. Now that you have set up SFTP access, it is time to install metamod and sourcemod. First, we need to get metamod. Go to metamod's site and locate the Linux version. Right-click on its link and hit copy link address. Now, in the server SSH session, change to the TF2 server account by typing su-tech-tf2 server. Now change to the TF2 server directory by typing cd./serverfiles/tf. Now type wget space, paste the link, and then press enter. Now untar the file and extract its components. Use tar-xvf space source, then press tab for auto-completion. Now remove the original tar.gz file. rm space source, then use tab to complete the file name. Next we will set up sourcemod. Go to the sourcemod website and locate the latest Linux version. Right-click on its link and hit copy link address. Now, in your SSH session, type in wget space and then paste the link. Once it is downloaded, extract it using tar-xvf space sourcemod and then use tab completion. Now remove the sourcemod tar file, rm space sourcemod, then use tab completion. Now we need to configure your admin account for the server. Type vim./addons sourcemod config admins_simple.ini. You can use tab completion for the path. Get your Steam ID from your Steam profile. Right-click anywhere on your profile and choose Copy Page URL. Go to steamidfinder.com and paste your Steam profile link. Copy the Steam ID it gives you to your clipboard. Now in Vim, press I on your keyboard and go to the last line, then create a new line. Then use the following example format. Now to exit Vim, press Escape on your keyboard, then hit Shift, then type a W in Q. Now to set up our TF2 server CFG, there is an automated website called cfg.tf that we can use. When you get to the site, change the OS type to Linux. Choose what you want on the next tabs, or you can just follow the example that I'm doing. I would recommend that you leave the network settings to their default settings. Under Custom Settings, replace the IP goes here with your IP address for your VPS. Once finished, select Generate Config. Once it downloads, extract it. Then rename server.cfg to TF2 tech server.cfg. In FileZilla, change your directory to serverfile/tf of your SFTP. Then upload your add-ons in CFG directories. You will be asked to overwrite some files. Select Yes for this queue, then Continue. Once uploaded, go back to your SSH session and start the TF2 server. Do this by running /TF2 server start. Once started, check to make sure that your server is running properly. It should now have the hostname that you specified, and you should have admin rights. You can check this with sm_admin in console. Lastly, we need to automate the SRCDS restarting at a set interval, as well as configure SRCDS instance to start when the server is turned on or restarted. To do this, type crontab -tac-e. I'm going to choose Vim as my editor. Once inside of my text editor, I'm going to press I to enter insert mode. With your arrow keys, move down to the bottom of the file, then start a new line. Paste the following. Then press Escape, and then while holding Shift, press the colon key. You should see a colon appear in the bottom left-hand corner. Then type W in Q. Lastly, test your cron job by running the following: /TF2 server stop. Then exit back to the root account. Now, reboot your entire server to make sure that the SRCDS instance comes up on startup by typing shutdown-r-t now. Once your server comes back up, make sure that you can connect to it from your in-game client. If everything went right, great. You should now have a working TF2 server with fast download and SFTP access for your files. I will be covering some security settings that you should be using in a future video, as this one is already long enough. If something went wrong, or you ran into an issue or just have a question, leave a comment or add me on Steam and I will help you out. Thank you for watching.